We're going to shift gears to e-commerce, right? E-commerce global sales right now are going to surpass $2 trillion. I mean, and even though it's just 9% of the total retail sales, it's growing, very rapidly. Last year they grew 26%, which is about 5 times the growth of the total retail sales. And if you project that growth into the future, in the next 5 years, going to keep that level of growth around 20%, which means it's going to double to $4 trillion. So what it means for big companies that really want to win, we need to treat e-commerce as a serious player, even if it sometimes becomes a little portion of your sales. And to do that, you really need to understand the drivers of your sales, leveraging the data to kind of optimize your spending and get more impact on your sales. So the biggest market in the world on e-commerce is by far China, and this is the reason why we have Joni today here. She's the leader for the e-commerce on Microsoft, and she's going to talk us about, what are they doing in Microsoft to kind of leverage all the data that they're getting from the ecosystem and applying to kind of drive sales. So, welcome to stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joni. I work for Microsoft. I always get a question when I tell people I work for Microsoft. They always ask, you work for Microsoft online store? What are you selling? So I'm going to show you the next slide about what we are actually selling. These are the products that we are selling. As you can see, those products are not a lot of products that we sell, but a lot of products that we are selling, they are very expensive. For example, the laptops. Many of the laptops are over $2,000 US. It's not that easy to sell online. Another challenge that I'm seeing is, I'm actually from China, I work in China. The China e-commerce landscape is huge. As you can see the numbers, the sales growth in China is almost 30%, which is more than double than the worldwide average. Also, when we look at the number of customers who are shopping online, there are over 400 million online shoppers. And customers in China, they love to shop. One of the biggest shoppers events, online shopping festival event, is Double 11 in China. The sales from that event is 17.8 billion, which is more than double than the Black Friday in US. So as you can see the number are huge. The huge opportunities and numbers also give us a very different type of challenge that we are facing. If you look at the other slide, which is on the bottom, you can see that in China, majority of the e-commerce market is dominated by a few key players. The key players, Tmall and also Jingdong, plus also Sony, accountable for almost 94% of the market. So we talk a lot about data problem, we talk about data silo, walled garden problem. All these problems are also happening in China. And also I have to tell you that the problem that I'm seeing compared to the rest of the world, I think is very different. But I also want my next presentation could give you some context in terms of some of the principles that I'm using in terms of how that helped me and also my job as well. So I also want to make it clear, I'm not going to talk too much. I don't have any slide to talk about we have a lot of data or we're using machine learning or AI. Instead, there are a few key principles that's actually from the art of war, because I feel that we are fighting every day. And it's a very different mindset from a lot of speakers that talk about here that start from the data collection and platforms. From the challenge that I'm seeing is more important, and also the most important piece for what I need to look at is agility, speed. Speed, when I look at the speed, what I really define the speed is the velocity of making decision, and also the velocity and how fast you can add on it and take actions. We talk a lot about the data, but if we focus too much on the data, we forgot about what we should be doing. So that is the number one principle when I look at what we are doing. So if we need to move on for the next one also the principle that are also very, very important for us. It sounds very straightforward. It's knowing your landscape and target. For us, especially in the market, in the China market, is a very huge market. We also have a lot of competition. So one of the things that we always do is we also want to understand in terms of our landscape, who are our customers, who are our competition. one of the benefits for us is we actually have a store, Tmall flagship store on Alibaba platforms. So by leveraging the Alibaba big data platforms, we can able to access a lot of information which are integrated for us. So for example, I don't show all the numbers, but as you can see, we can able to understand our competition. I can look at our competitors, their sales, their trend. I can also look at how they are doing. Is this trend is going up, or what the conversion rate that they are having. That gives us really good idea what the competition is about. And then it also gives us very good ideas about customer insight. A lot of customer profile, what product that they buy, their profiling, in terms of what are their interests, their behavior, demographic, and all this information, we also have access from the big data platform that we can able to leverage the data. And it's also very helpful for us to get very good insight. For example, we look at customers who buy our product, we also find out that there are some customers who like to buy expensive wallet or expensive man clothing. So this also gives us really good ideas in terms of how we can leverage the insight and help us to come up with a better message, and more importantly, the better offer that we can offer to them, exclusive for them, so that it can help us to improve the conversion rate. And then after all the insights, it actually gives us really, really good idea in terms of what to do. The next key point that I really want to focus on is really all about the planning. When I look at what we are doing, I think the most important and most critical task for us is actually the Double 11 day. The Double 11, as I mentioned earlier, last year it has $17.8 billion. It's a really big sales. On that day, all the sales happening on the day. It's a single day event. And in this single day event, how can we do? It's actually a test for us as are we having a good strategy and start implementing the strategy and able to drive the sales in one day. So I'm going to illustrate what we are doing in an integrated way in this slide. We are trying to do a test based on the insight. We try to identify who are the people who we should be targeting. And then based on the test results, we will do very targeted reach. And with the targeted reach, we can able to identify what is working, what's not working, and then we will expand our reach to broader audience. And then at the end, it's also very important because in the big sales days, all the sales happen in one day. So before that, we also need to push them to bookmark it and add to cart, and making sure that all the tactics are integrated together. And then the whole team, not just only us, the marketing team, our sales team, our customer service team, are also pushing the customers from if they are adding the product into the cart or if they have problem to us, we really drive really aggressively to move them add to cart before the day. So on the day it's happening, what they are doing and what we're doing is just optimizing everything, like the landing page, the product placements, and for the customer who have questions, especially we are selling expensive product, we are also driving them and using customer service to call them and help them to pay and get them to buy on the day. So as you can see, there is a lot of hard work, and all the success is not actually coming from luck or big advertising budget. It's actually coming from a very integrated plan to make sure that all tactics are adding up together and make it to work to drive the sales. So these are the key points that we are talking. I just want to summarize the few key principles that we are working on. And those principles is very important, and much more important than the data that we have. So from my perspective, I think the most important place is really about how we can come up and work together with the company and create a culture and also create a process to enable all these principles happening and able to help us to drive the sales. Thank you. That's all my presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joni. I know it's very challenging to try to explain how to win on e-commerce in China in 7 minutes. So I want to see whether there's any question in the audience. Everybody looks very hungry. There's one. Thank you.
I hope this isn't a stupid question.
No.
Is it unusual to be able to track your competitors' sales volume quite like that? The way you have access to all the competitive activities, sort of day by day, line by line. Is that unusual? Or is that just standard operating?
What is your question? I don't get it. Yeah.
My question is unusual. Is that novel? Is that something with, your access into the data?
The access of the data, okay. This is also how Alibaba set up their big data platform. So Alibaba is a marketplace. They actually have the platforms that allow all the brands to access the data, including the competitor data as well. So that is also one of the reasons why at the beginning I mentioned speed is the most important, because that information not only available for us, it's available for our competitor as well. So the key for us is really about access to the data, identify the insights, and also move fast and make decisions fast. It's all about execution. So, and also I realized that also with the platforms, there is a lot of data. So identify where to find the data and come up with a quick decision and move on. That is really the key for success. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any other question? I have a quick question for you. Because Microsoft is a large corporation, so I mean, in linking to the previous discussion of the previous panel, so what sort of challenges have you encountered from an organization, and what are the culture changes you need to implement to apply your first principle of agility and fast decision making?
Yeah, I think first when I joined Microsoft, I actually changed the roles and responsibility in terms of how we run the business. We actually make everyone take accountability and make everyone have a mindset about testing and learning. Testing and learning, that mindset is very important. In terms of organization change, I realized that is the most important piece, is a starting point. And the second is through the testing, and we also come up with very good user case in terms of how we can better use data. So once we get a user case, we actually did a couple user case for our corp in US already. And we saw that we do that manually. We test this, and these are the cool things that we should put it together and able to drive very good revenue uplift. And then we will use the user case and also use the proof and tell the corp that, hey, this is a funding that I need to support that. And then use the case to prove it to them, this is why you need to invest in a bigger data platforms, because we rely a lot on Alibaba at the moment. We're also looking into ability to build our own platform so that we can able to do better. So it has to be go step by step, but we could start with small and also use a case that have confidence, even though we are not making big numbers, but the case that we're confident that this is how we're going to use it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we ran out of time, but you're closer to lunch, so let's give a round of applause to Joni.